Welcome to Nonstop. It's the official and season show of Kirk, Herbstreit, and Joey Galloway. Your first stop for all things football, college and pro, every Monday.
All right, guys, how we doing? Ranking show just ended. Joey's gonna probably hop on here, and my guess is a few minutes. I think he's taping a SportsCenter hit reaction from the set. So him and Reese and Boog and Greg are doing that. So I just thought we'd hop on. I had some kind of initial reactions to these rankings myself. You know, the big question and debate has been about Notre Dame and Miami. And I think if you're a Miami fan, this should be good news for you. I think if you're a Notre Dame fan, you should be concerned just based on these rankings. I mean, Notre Dame drops one spot to 10. Why is that important to me? Because the team behind them is BYU. There used to be 3 spots between Notre Dame and Miami. We would often talk about the cluster. Can Miami get close enough for the cluster? Cluster means when there's 2 or 3 teams, they get close enough, and there's ways to separate them, whether it's conference championship, head to head, whatever it might be. And for Miami, I wondered, are they going to do enough on the field to be able to move up where head to head will matter? And I think now the fact that they're 2 spots away, if you're a Miami fan, let me just simplify this. You want Texas Tech to come out with their guns blazing, and you want them to jump all over BYU, beat them for a second time. If they blow them out, they beat them for a second time. I typically don't like conference championship games, teams being punished and losing a spot or 2. But in this case, playing a team a second time, if BYU were to lose a second time, the first time was pretty much a dominant performance by the Red Raiders. If that were to happen again, I think BYU would go down, and I think Miami would go up. And I think Miami and Notre Dame, more than likely, are going to be right next to each other. That's what we call a cluster. And that's when you would see Miami's head-to-head, boom, push them up and over Notre Dame. That was the biggest thing that I took away from that. Now, there are a lot of different variables. You know, we've got Duke, who's playing against Virginia. We got JMU, who's playing in a conference championship game. These are all teams that potentially could impact at-large teams, but I don't think that would affect. To me, it's a Miami or Notre Dame if it plays out the way it could. And as you see right there in those rankings, Notre Dame dropping behind Alabama is significant, in my opinion. And I think it potentially could set up, like I said, a very interesting Sunday, depending on the results over the weekend in these conference championship games. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you want to see BYU play well. You want to see them take care of Texas Tech. And I think that would be still an interesting debate because there's only so many spots, right? You know, this is going to be still a very tough task. I think if anything, we learned that Texas and Vanderbilt and Utah, these are all teams that, you know, their coaches have been, especially Texas, has been out publicly stating their case, which they should probably. But I think after tonight, Texas at 13, Vanderbilt at 14, Utah down at 15, dropped 2 spots. I think they're now still, that's one thing I hate about this. They're now out of the discussion, I guess, for the playoff, but we're still talking about teams that are top 15 in the country. I mean, that's still an incredible season for a player to be proud of, for a coach to be proud of, and for their fan base to be proud of. Did you come up? Did you make it potentially to the CFP? Looks like no. Are you going to still go to a massively high-profile bowl game and play a big-time opponent? Yes. And I just hope there's still people out there that look at those bowl games and look at not making the playoff. If you're in the top 15 in the country, that's still a really good year. Maybe disappointing, but still a great year. So the next question, I guess, would be, who are going to be the teams that get a bye? Like you would assume if the Ohio State-Indiana game is a close game, no matter which team wins, I think they're both going to get a bye. If Georgia wins, there's Joey. If Georgia wins, they're going to get a bye. If Texas Tech wins, they're going to get a bye. And remember last year, Joey, the 4 teams that had the bye, they all lost.
Yeah,
So
it was amazing.
I don't know if you want the bye.
I
right?
got this going on next to me, Herbie. Reese is in here just messing around. It's just
he doesn't know. We got
got
serious stuff going on.
Joey blasphemed against your dogs earlier. So I just want to make sure you should know.
He's ripping on my dogs.
I can't hear you.
Hey, Herbie, don't listen to that. You know I love those dogs.
You better not be ripping on the dogs. That's not cool. You always rip on the damn dogs.
Yeah, I love those dogs.
I just talked. My takeaway on this is the committee set Miami up for an opportunity to get next to Notre Dame. If BYU loses, especially if it's convincing, I think Notre Dame and Miami are going to be side by side, and that's when the head-to-head could matter. I think that's what I think. You don't think so?
I don't see it, Herbie. I just don't, because they don't play. Oh, listen. And we've had this before, and I've had these arguments and these discussions before. Tuesday night, if you tell me that Notre Dame is a better team than Miami, with neither team playing, what in the world
I'll tell you.
Could
you want me to tell you?
change that? Tell me, please.
Okay. So you're looking at it logically when it comes to, well, if on Tuesday they're higher ranked and then they don't play, how the heck can you change them? This is why having, and Reese has talked about this, this is why having the weekly Tuesday night show is a total disaster. Because if you talk to anybody, Rich Clark or anybody with the CFP, they would tell you that truly, until they get all the data, this is all just positioning. And then their final rankings on Sunday is really all they should make public, in my opinion. That's when conference champions come into play. That's when head-to-head comes into play. So to answer your question, how in the world could you move Miami ahead of Notre Dame? And the reason would be because the whole time we've been arguing about Miami and Notre Dame, they haven't been close enough to argue about them. If BYU gets beat a second time by Texas Tech, especially if it's a butt kicking like it was in Lubbock, they're going down.
Yeah.
And Miami and Notre Dame will then be next to each other. And that's when, according to what we've been trained by the CFP, head-to-head or conference champion or whatever you have that could be a kind of a trump card comes into play. And that's why on Sunday, I'm telling you, if BYU goes down, it's just my feeling is Notre Dame should be nervous and Miami could go right by them, even though neither team plays. And it's going to go all the way back to late August, head-to-head, because they'll finally be close enough in the rankings where head-to-head will matter. That's my takeaway.
I understand it. And I believe that they've been close enough already to be in the
Well, they've been 3 or 4 spots away from each other.
Yeah, but they're still close enough to be in a conversation. Now, there's 2 things in that conversation that you just said. If BYU plays Texas Tech, again, we're having this conversation that pertains to playing the extra game.
And I hate moving a team down after losing.
If Alabama should happen to lose to Georgia,
once again, by the way, different. They beat them in Athens. Very different.
If they should happen to lose, we're getting back into the conversation of should a team drop if they lose playing in their conference championship game, which then leads you to have the discussion of who in their right mind would want to play in their conference championship game if you can get penalized by losing that game. I understand everything you said, but again, right now, they are 2 spots away. So on Tuesday, with 2 teams having completely ended their season, they're done. They're not going to touch another football. If 4 days later, that can change, then what are we doing here? then I would agree with you in saying we need to knock it off on these Tuesday nights.
Yeah, I
do
think the
Let's not
Tuesday nights can be a little bit misleading because again, until all the data comes in, which I'm saying conference champions, head to head,
Mhm.
all those things are supposed to be looked at when they get to the final rankings, and they're in that room debating and talking about this and this and this.
Yeah.
That's where those things should really come into play, and so. I'm with you, by the way. We've been saying this all along. I think to play a bonus round and to be punished, I'm not a fan of that, no matter who the team is. But
Mhm.
this is an interesting situation. It's not up to me and you. It's up to the committee. We've already seen this matchup. And Texas Tech, if they would have finished in the red zone, they settled for field goals. I have to go back and look at the stats, but I called the game. It seemed like they settled for red zone field goals
They
maybe
did.
three or four
The
times. It
final
could have been
score was 29-7.
it
It
could
could
have
have
been
been
47-7. But
easily could have been
so
worse.
now with Alabama and Georgia called that game too. Bama went into Athens. I would
Uh-huh.
argue, other than Indiana winning in Eugene, you could argue that's one of the top 2 or 3 wins of the year. Bama going. Ty Simpson was on fire that night. Seems like every third down early in that game. I think the first 7 or 8 third downs they were hitting. They just took the stadium over, and to their credit, they won that game. So that game, when you rematch, and if you were to lose, that feels different than if Texas Tech does it round 2 and they do it again.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I'm for teams dropping for bonus games, but that one's a little bit different to me because if they end up playing twice and Texas Tech pounds them twice, and BYU, by the way, could win the game.
Absolutely right.
I mean, they're very, more than capable of winning. But if it goes the way it went in Lubbock, I'm not saying what you and I think. I'm saying I think the committee set themselves up tonight to potentially move by BYU down 1 spot and Notre Dame up, or Miami up a spot, and now you get the head to head. And I think that we'll see, but I
If that
just could
happens,
see that happening.
if that happens, I am on board with canceling Tuesday nights. Even though I enjoy the show, I enjoy doing this. I'm on board with canceling the show. The other thing interesting to me, let's just say Alabama does get a win against Georgia. You have the potential of having 3 Big Ten teams
Yeah,
getting
you
a
could move. I think you
bye,
could move Oregon up there, right?
and they're
I
sitting at
think
5. You
I
could
think three. You got
absolutely
3. I think you should have
make a
3 Big
move.
Ten teams. Yeah, I'm with
And
you.
it goes back to, because when you talk resume, you talk strength of schedule. Obviously, the Big Ten teams didn't go through the gauntlet that the SC teams went through. It takes you back to the question mark of what is it worth to schedule those tough games early on? If you're Texas, do you want to go on the road and play Ohio State? Do you really want to do that? If at the end of the day, you now are talked about as a team that has 3 losses. Now, they don't just have 3 losses. They have games after Ohio State where they just didn't look like the Texas team that we see now. The Texas team we see now looks like a legitimate team to be in the
When
playoff.
you say
Early on,
now,
they
that's
did not.
that's 2 weeks. Arkansas and Texas A&M, they got beat 35-10 3 weeks
Yeah,
ago at Georgia. I
yeah.
mean,
It's
so that so forget Ohio State. To me, that helped them. That 14-7 game, that's the closest game Ohio State's had all year. I think their
yeah,
stock went up by that game. But they lose to a 4-8 Florida team on the road,
yeah.
which it's always tough to
It
go to the
hurts.
Swamp. But they're 4-8, and then they get Georgia pulls away, and it's 35-10.
Yeah, but
So
why
that
schedule
to
it then?
me, huh?
I, I, but if I'm in the thought process and looking at the way this season played out, and looking at a team like Oregon, who we've talked about a long time having a weak resume coming into the last couple weeks of the season, we talked about it not looking great, and now they're in position to possibly get a bye in the first round. I don't know that it's going to motivate me to schedule a game in September. It's
Yeah.
just not
Well, I mean,
motivating to
there's
me.
different way. I understand what you're saying because I tweeted something out today about that because listen, I like the big games. I
Oh,
prefer the big
love
games,
it.
but
Love it.
I can't tell you how many ADs and coaches at prominent universities have reached out to me to say this discussion right here to
Yeah.
say even today I had conversations with people and that's what created made me go out and tweet that because I wasn't thinking that way. But when these guys reach out to me and say, I'm canceling this game, I'm F that, I'm not playing. Why should I play this? I'm not doing, I mean, they are passionate about it. And I'm like, I want to say, please keep playing these games because
Absolutely.
your kids want to play in these games. Like the college football community celebrates these games. Your
Yes.
players rather play Ohio State or Alabama or Texas A&M than play Rice. You know,
Uh-huh.
like that's not good for the sport. And it's not,
No, not at all.
but I understand if all we're gonna do is get to week 13 and we're just gonna be like, okay, they got no losses, they got one loss. What's this 3-loss team doing up here? No way. You gotta like if that's all we're doing, we're not taking into consideration where you played or
Yeah.
when did you play at prime time on the road in Athens
Yeah.
or Columbus or
Yeah.
State College. Like if you're not
Say,
taking that into consideration and you're just counting
yes.
losses, then hell yeah, don't play anybody.
But think about it.
Play easiest games. If that's all it is,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Why
But
would you want to play anybody?
but think about it. Say Notre Dame doesn't play Miami and Texas A&M. We're not arguing Miami and Notre Dame at the end of this thing. Now, I'm 100% with you. I want those games.
Well,
But in
more
looking at it,
importantly, the players want those games. When you were at
absolutely.
Ohio State, Joey, when you played Washington at night,
Yeah,
you had the jersey tucked up, the abs rolling,
absolutely
spatted
right.
up. Like, would you rather play
Absolutely right.
that or Rice that you beat 65-0?
I am with you 1,000%. But I also, if I'm these athletic directors, if I'm these administrators, and I'm saying to myself, I could have eliminated being on the bubble in December by not playing. Say you're Notre Dame and you don't play A&M and you don't play Miami. Say you play one of them, not two of them. You're having a different conversation. It's
Yep.
unfortunate, but that's what it is. I
Yeah.
want them to. Believe me, we live for those games.
Here's I mean, for everybody that's on here, and we appreciate you hopping on with us. Here's the challenge to me for the people, because put yourself in that committee room. Of course, losses should matter.
Yes.
Of course they should. But take yourself into the world that Joey just described. Nobody plays anybody in the non-conference because everyone's afraid if the committee doesn't care who we play, then let's just find 3 really, really small schools that we know we can win and get ready for conference play. Just think of that world of college football, that if administrators look at these rankings and they think, well, I'm being punished for playing high profile games, and at the end of the year people are just counting losses. So you have one side of the argument saying losses should matter, you guys lost it, and then on the other side of the argument you're going, oh, okay, losses matter, okay, then I'm not going to play anybody in the non-conference. So
Who did Indiana play?
which
Who did Indiana play?
I don't. Let me find. Am I still?
Yeah.
Can you still see me on the?
I can see you. I don't have my computer, but when you
Okay,
look
real
at
quick, I'll tell you. They played
Yeah.
Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State. That was their non-conference
Yeah.
matchup.
Who did look up Oregon real quick, please?
Oregon.
Yeah, let's see.
Got it right here, man. Got it right
Here we
here.
go. Here we go.
Montana State.
Ah,
Montana State, Oklahoma State, and
Uh-huh.
Oregon State. I mean,
Uh-huh.
those are at least 2 of those. At least are from conferences.
Have a pulse.
Yeah, that you've heard of. Yeah.
But that's
yeah.
so we get to the end and you're looking at Indiana sitting at number 2, solid number 2.
Solid.
Played nobody
Played
early
nobody.
on. Oregon is in position to get a bye. Played a couple teams with a pulse.
Yeah, Oklahoma
But played
State and
nobody.
Oregon State.
And avoided Ohio State in season.
Yep.
I'm telling you, man, if I'm one of these SEC teams, I'm having a different conversation about
Well,
who
that's
I'm
what's going
playing
to
before we get into it.
That's all I've received, phone calls from guys that are saying, that's why I tweeted that out. People are
Yeah,
like, oh, it's USF. I'm like, you don't understand. This is a signal. This is the beginning of what's
yeah,
coming. Alabama, since Nick Saban has been there, go back and look who Alabama's played in the non-conference. Like they did it with pride. Like
yes,
Wisconsin, Michigan, Notre Dame, Penn State, Florida, like name anybody, they'll play
yeah,
them. But I think they're thinking, what's the point? You know, what's the point in playing these? And again,
absolutely.
if we go that route, I think the players end up being the losers. The fans end up being the losers. The
We end
logic
up being the
makes
losers.
the people
Yeah,
who love the sport. I mean, the logic makes sense. How do you get around that? How do you avoid that when here we are in early December and all we're just looking at, okay, how many losses does this team have? How many losses? If that's what we're going to do, if I went on here right now and said that a 3-loss team should be up in there, people would be like, "Oh my God, he's crazy. What is
absolutely
you
nuts.
know what I
What's
mean?"
wrong with you? What is
Yeah,
wrong with you if you
because
did
they have
that?
3
Yes,
losses.
yes.
So with that in mind, when this happens, when this new trend happens,
Hmm.
we can't blame them. We can't blame
Nope.
them. We hate it. It's going to suck. I'd love, like, you think about late July, teams start showing up to camp. You start kind of getting ready. You start thinking about week 1. You start looking at the schedule. You're like, oh, look at that one. Oh,
Hmm.
look at that one. Labor Day night. Look at that one. Now
Yeah.
we're going to have Ohio State against Miami of Ohio and
Uh-huh.
Florida. You're just not going to have these games. And that's unfortunate. But I think that's what I think a lot of the ADs and coaches are thinking, that's the answer to just avoid potential setbacks. Anything else stand out to you?
Not really. I was looking to see. We've had a ton of losses in that 20 to 25 space. I mean, in the past couple weeks, and then even this week, 19 through 23, they all lost. So just looking to see group of 5 teams getting ranked. North Texas jumps in at 24. James Madison jumps in at 25. I think it goes back to what you were saying yesterday on the podcast with the ACC conundrum.
Yep.
If Duke should happen to win and James
Yep.
Madison wins, now the American is in.
Now we know.
Tulane's playing North Texas. The winner of that one,
In.
you're in there.
In.
And the question is, and you pointed out, James Madison will be ranked above Duke. In
Yep.
the event that Duke wins the unthinkable, and a conference that has Clemson, Miami, Florida State, now
Yeah.
Virginia could get left out would be absolutely incredible. And
Well,
in the
their
second
only
year,
hope would be Miami,
yeah,
somehow getting in, and that debate and discussion we talked about with Notre Dame, if BYU were to lose a second time to Texas Tech. Something that I've been meaning to talk about in the Big 12 is Arizona. That nobody really
hmm
talks about Arizona. Probably not a lot of people know, Brennan, their coach, and Noah Fafita. They're kind of an afterthought in that conference. When we had
yeah,
realignment, not a lot of people were excited about ASU. Even last year, they made a run, got into the playoff. Arizona put it on them last week. They end up 9-3. And again, I know we get caught up in the CFP, who's in, who's out, but man, what if you're an Arizona Wildcat fan? What a season to finish 9-3. They're going to go to
hmm
probably a big bowl game, and I love stories like that. Like you get down to those teams like Houston or Georgia Tech or
yeah.
Iowa, Virginia. We've talked a lot about.
And Iowa being a different team this year. We
Totally
for
different
years we've made fun of
defense and
Iowa's going to
punting.
beat you 10-7.
Yeah,
It's 10-7. That's all it's going to be. And in this season, Iowa offensively uh, found
yeah,
ways with Gronowski in that offense to put points
yeah.
on the board. Still play good defense. They've had a heck of a season.
I know you got a 5 a.m. flight. I know you're going to want to
Yes,
move
sir.
on here, back to the hotel. Let's answer a couple questions. We've had a lot of people that have hopped on with us here. Ty, you want to fire one up there? We'll hit a question. How on earth does Texas jump Vandy? how on earth does Texas jump Vandy? They beat them, right? I mean,
Beat,
didn't they
uh,
beat them head to head?
not just beat them. That
Yeah, the comeback
literally,
was a little bit
yeah, that
misleading.
literally was the first time all season long that I've seen Vandy look outmatched. They looked outmatched when they played Texas. That one didn't bother me that much. Not at
No.
all.
And you know, they ended up jumping 3 spots. It's like, and Vandy's story is amazing. Living
Yeah.
here in Nashville, Clark Lee. I know
Hmm.
that Diego Pavia gets a lot of the attention, and he should. But
Yep.
Clark Lee, he just re-upped. You know, it's alma mater. I got a feeling Vandy's not going away. This guy is a great coach. He has a great staff. To watch them play, it's fun. So I love
And I,
Vandy. I love their year, but man, Texas just beat the number 3 team in the country, and they beat
yeah,
Vandy head to head.
yeah,
Why are we getting
yeah.
upset
That's
about that? They're
the other thing that's an interesting argument because I was listening to Coach Lee talk, and he was making mention. I mean, if you take a Tulane team that is 10-2, and Vandy also 10-2, with Tulane having a chance to get in and Vandy not having, it's it just goes back to those questions of group of five. I've always been a fan of them getting in, but it literally takes me back to my idea of, man, this is the first year I wish we could get more teams in because
yeah.
Tulane's going to get in with a similar record to Vandy when Vandy haven't played in the SEC. It's just it's tough to
Let
swallow.
Let me just say this. I'm about to call Alabama, Georgia. I I got some concerns as we get down this stretch run. When I watch Oklahoma play,
Hmm.
and I know their record, you go back and look at you want to talk about look what Oklahoma went through. I mean,
Absolutely.
look at they played Michigan on top of that in the non-conference.
Yep.
But you look at their schedule. I remember thinking they might be a good team. There's no way they'll survive this schedule. So credit to Brent Venables. He was kind of on the hot seat coming into this year, hired a
Hmm.
couple new coordinators, did a great job, brought in his quarterback, but they're struggling to get a first down. So they're interesting team to watch. They deserve credit. I'm not saying they shouldn't be in, but they got to get more from their offense, something from their running game. And I just did Bama and Auburn,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, it's weird to see Alabama can't run the football, and
Yeah.
and they're putting it all on Ty Simpson, and now they got Georgia this week in that game, and I'm like, boy, you could make it if we were just looking if we take this playoff and we were just playing, let's just throw these teams into an SEC tournament. I don't know. I'd probably right now you'd probably put Texas and Vandy as good, just as good a chance as Oklahoma and Alabama to come out of that SEC if you had an SEC tournament. I mean, right now
Absolutely
I feel
right.
like Oklahoma and Alabama are kind of limping. They're winning, but they're leaking oil. They're leaking oil coming in to the last end of the season here because of their
It was
offenses.
crazy to watch Notre Dame, I mean, Oklahoma beat Alabama the way that happened. Alabama outgained them offensively. It literally came
-3 in a
down
turnover
to
margin.
the
My,
3 turnovers,
and a
but
pick six.
not just turnovers, getting the interception, taking it back, the blocked field goal,
Yep.
the turning the other turnover into a touchdown that Matia ran it in. You're absolutely right. Looking at it, if you looked at the stat line of the
Oh,
Oklahoma
oh,
wins,
don't look.
you're
But
like,
you know what, dude?
how did
You know
this
what, dude?
work?
They win.
They
They win.
win.
And it gets
Absolutely.
really, really, really good competition.
Yes,
So
I agree.
kudos to them. And then there's the Ole Miss thing. Ole Miss went up. I tweeted something out. I was so fired up for this whole thing about Lane Kiffin. Should he coach? Should he not? I only brought up that he should coach because I'd love to see this Ole Miss team has been the other end of the spectrum from what we're
Hmm.
talking about with Oklahoma and Alabama as far as their
Yep.
offense. And I just wanted to see this offense and this quarterback and these guys hitting on all cylinders when they went into the postseason. I want to see Ole Miss finish this run that they're having. And if Lane Kiffin can't be there, he's on to Baton Rouge. Great. I love that Charlie Weiss is coming back because he truly calls the plays. He puts
Hmm.
the plan together. So that was massive news that Charlie Weiss Jr. is coming back. Gets me fired up to think that Ole Miss maybe between kind of being galvanized between their coach leaving and then Charlie Weiss coming back to help that offense. I'm fired up now to see where Ole Miss ends up. That's without Charlie
I agree.
Weiss and Joe Cox and Lane Kiffin. I didn't know what the hell they were going to do as an offensive staff to get ready
I
for the
agree with you.
playoff. You know?
I agree.
All right.
Yeah.
What's the next question here? Does the Heisman come down to Saturday night? Absolutely. I think it does. A lot of talk about different Diego Pavia. A lot of talk about obviously the Notre Dame, and they've to me Notre Dame's had a great year. The backs had a great year, but it feels like after the game Julian Sayin had at Michigan, the just to lead them to victory, great. I mean, he played with such poise, hit some big throws. The way Mendoza's been playing all year, it just feels like if one of those two quarterbacks goes off, I think they're going to really have an opportunity on a big stage for a kind of an exclamation point to their season. Whichever one of those guys wins the game, and if they play well, I think that could be the guy.
Interesting. I think it's a little. I got a little different feel. Now, if one goes off and one lays an egg, that's a
What if they
different
both go
conversation.
off? What if they
both play
off?
well? One's going to win, one's going to lose.
Probably going to be the guy that wins.
Interesting.
Who would you say right now?
I really feel like Jeremiah Love is the best player in this. He's not going to get a chance to make a statement in this weekend. I think he's been amazing. I think we've turned it into a quarterback award as of late. And so my feeling isn't between the two quarterbacks. I would think that Jeremiah Love should have gotten more attention all along in this. So I don't really have a feeling toward which quarterback wins Saturday night being necessarily the guy.
Okay, that's cool. And there are a lot of people that follow your logic. If we're just looking at who the best college football player is, and I know this will never ever get traction, but just between you and I, Caleb Downs might be the best college football player in the country.
Okay, interesting. Let me ask you a question. Interesting, you said that.
He's a freak.
Here's why.
And he has been for 3 years.
Here's why that's interesting. Have you ever seen a person win the Heisman and not be the best player on their own team? Have you ever seen that before? I'm sure
it's happened. I don't remember.
You are the college football almanac, in my opinion. Like, we used to joke and laugh about how much stuff you have filed away back there in your brain. But if you were to look at Ohio State's team, and let's say you say Caleb Downs is the best player on the team, would you say Jeremiah Smith is the second best player on that team?
On just raw ability?
On
Carnell Tate,
best player.
Carnell Tate is having a great year.
Jeremiah
Smith's a rare. He's a rare.
If you keep it up,
he's a freak. I know.
Here's what I'm saying. If you keep it up, you're moving Sayin down the list into a place where
I got you. That's fair, though. That's fair.
It's an amazing situation that I don't know that I've ever seen, where Julian Sayin has a chance to win the Heisman and not be
the fourth or fifth best player on his team. Don't forget Sonny Styles. All
right, you better knock it off. Now you see. Hey, listen. You went from I don't know, and then you start to think and start naming guys. And Julian Sayin each time is moving down. Amazing player. He's been terrific.
But it goes back to your point about how it's become a quarterback award.
And so as you start to name guys, Arvell Reese might be the number 1 pick in the NFL. Herbie.
About him. Wow. Number 8. Mercy. Woo. How pretty.
This is where you put the sunglasses on and say, hey, I don't know.
How pretty is number 8 in his uni?
I mean,
you had to look down, but number 8, I mean, just.
All right, knock it off. Not go, because if you keep it up, Sayin's going to be 8th on his own team. and win the Heisman.
All right,
Knock
two
it off.
more questions.
All right,
Two
here
more
we go.
questions, Ty. What do we got? All right, Ty, come on now, kid. Do away with preseason rankings. Start after week 5. That might help.
That
I
is what
feel
we do,
like-
right? That is what we do.
Well, the
The
CFP
college football
rankings,
playoff.
they start late. AP comes out in
Yeah.
like mid-August.
Yeah, that's.
But
no.
you know what? I feel like by the time we see 3 or 4 weeks of football, I feel like it kind of the guy like Texas, they were number 1. Penn State,
Uh-huh.
they were number 1 or 2 or 3. Clemson, all those teams, LSU. But
Mhm.
by the time we got to week 5, they were history. They're
Yeah,
gone.
They're out.
So I kind of feel like, when I don't know about you, but when I see that AP poll come out, even though it's meaningless,
Mhm.
there's something that's, oh, look where they got this team. There's just something about seeing it kind of gets you excited. And I think I personally think it works itself out. Teams that
For the
win
most
move up.
part. For the
Yeah.
most part.
Now,
Absolutely.
if you're at 47 and
Yes.
it's a long way to climb.
This season, little different. Typically
Yeah.
speaking, by the time we hit Sunday, Hayes in the barn. You know who it's going to be. Like
Yeah.
you might have one question mark, but typically speaking, it works itself out. By the time we hit Sunday, you know what's going to happen. This year, let's expand to 16. Let's just move it to 16 this year.
I would love that.
Back to
Can we
12
start
next
that?
year.
Can we start that this year?
Tweet that out.
Oh my gosh. How great would it be to have 16 this year?
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Oh,
Then I
my
get to call a game.
gosh. Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
let me call one.
if we were at 16, there'd be no concern
Nope.
with like teams like Miami, Texas, Vanderbilt, Utah, USC. Hell, we might even be able to get Virginia or Arizona in there somehow.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 16 would be. And most years you're sitting there, you get down to 11, 12.
You're like,
But-
that's it. That's
yeah,
enough.
But this year we got some teams. All right, one more
Yeah.
so we can get Joey to bed. 4 a.m., 3 a.m. wake up call. Are you going to the Big Ten after the SEC championship? So for me, game day is in Atlanta, and we'll call. Chris and I and Holly are going to call the SEC championship game at 4:00 Eastern on ABC, and then I am sprinting to the airport to fly to Indy with the goal of getting there by halftime is my goal, to catch the second half from the sideline for the Big Ten championship. So I want to see Indiana and Ohio State. Indiana has done so much to impress, I think, not just me, everybody, with the
Mhm.
way they played at Oregon, the line of scrimmage. They just feel physical, on both sides of the football. And I want to see them take on the ultimate test. Ohio State right now, I talk to all these coaches around the country. Everybody's like, wow, Ohio State, just wow. And it doesn't mean they're going to win it all, but there are a lot of people that coach in the country that are just really, really impressed with Ohio State. And I think some are surprised by what they lost from a year ago and how good they still are this year. But Indiana, man, they look better than who they were last year. So
Yeah.
I know you could technically, I guess you could say whoever loses, they're both going to be probably top 4. They're probably
Yeah.
both going to get a bye. But just the competition of it, this is new for Indiana. I can't even imagine what that scene is going to be like at the Lucas Oil. I think that's going to be a great game, regardless
Yeah.
of it doesn't matter, that kind of stuff. I think
Yeah.
it matters.
You enjoy the run to the airplane to get to the Big Ten championship game. This, where you see me at right in here, this place in here,
Yep.
sign me up for that. I'll be. Hey,
Oh,
listen, don't be sending any pictures of Peter on the plane. I don't want to see that nonsense while I'm sitting up here and it's snowing outside and you guys like, hey, we're going to. I don't want to see that.
You don't want to see that?
I don't want to see that.
I'm gonna come get you.
Oh,
Will they where's Peter?
swing by.
Can I come
Hey,
get
listen,
you? Would they let you?
I don't-
Would they?
I do not want to see pictures of you tucking Peter in his bed on the plane while I'm stuck here in the snow. It's gonna be snowing. In case you're wondering.
Petey, Would they come here, man? Go boy. Would
Hey,
they
come
let
here, babe.
would they let you come if I came to get you?
Maybe if Peter asked. If Peter was to ask, can I make the trip? I think Peter can get it done. He's the only one that can get it done. Not even you can get that done.
I'm gonna have him ask. I think you're right. Look at that. Look at that. Well, Joey, what time you getting up in the morning?
I'll take off for the airport around 3:30 a.m.
Okay.
So
do you even go to?
guys,
are you gonna go to sleep? You think?
I will tonight. Saturday nights I don't go to sleep, but tonight I got a little extra. I'll go get me a sandwich and get my skivvies on and get a couple hours sleep.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you making the effort to hop on and talk about this, and it's going to be fun. We'll see what the games, conference championship games will be fun Friday and Saturday. The committee's got their work cut out for them. We'll see what the direction they go on Sunday. Joey, have a great week, and
it was fun.
We'll talk to you soon. See you guys.
All right, man. Yep.